So there's been a conflict in Israel between Israel and Palestine. Gaza, the Gaza Strip. There's been rockets pounding Israel after the militants have been killed. So what this means is that there's been rockets going from Gaza into Israel. They're pounding Israel because Israel launched an airstrike where they killed the top officials in the military and the commanders of Hamas. So, what has happened and what caused this to happen? I think tensions rising. Yeah, I mean, there hasn't been a formal ceasefire since 2014, so this war has been going on for 7 years. I don't believe there has been a ceasefire. There hasn't been a ceasefire since 2014, so this is an ongoing conflict that hasn't been resolved. So Hamas militants have launched dozens of rockets at Israel after Israeli airstrikes killed senior commanders and felled a multi-story building in Gaza. So basically, Israel escalated the conflict because Gaza attacked them. So, I mean, they're well within their rights to defend themselves because there's been hundreds of rockets flying towards them. And considering that they have an Iron Dome defense, like they have some kind of Iron Dome missile interception system that intercepts rockets before they come into their airspace. But the flaw with the Iron Dome system is that it doesn't intercept every single rocket that comes into the vicinity of the airspace of Israel. So there's obviously going to be some that's going to be going through. So with that being said, um, Israel is losing something by fighting with Hamas because it doesn't seem like that they are going. But they have the power to wipe Gaza off the map. But I don't believe it's going to be that simple. I think that if Israel were to go for a full-scale war against Gaza and try and destroy the Palestinians, that would not be the smartest move because I believe that the international community, which is a joke, but I believe that let's look at the map and let's see where Israel is and let's see where like Gaza is and whatever. Okay, so Israel is over here. They are very close to Turkey, right here. This is Turkey. So the conflict is happening over here. This is Israel, and it's happening over here. This is the Gaza Strip, right? Tel Aviv, whatever. Okay, so if Israel tries to destroy Gaza, there's the Gaza Strip. Okay, so if Israel tries to destroy the Gaza Strip and take over everything over here, what's going to happen is Egypt. I don't believe they're going to intervene, but Israel is surrounded by enemies. They're surrounded by Jordan, surrounded by Syria, and they're also surrounded by Turkey. Turkey does not like Israel. Egypt does not like Israel. Jordan does not like Israel. Iraq does not like Israel. Saudi Arabia. Actually, Saudi Arabia, I believe they are by whatever. Iran does not like Israel. So they're surrounded by enemies. So if they were to escalate the conflict even more, this would be to their detriment. That's what I think. So let's see. Further violence in Israeli areas with mixed Jewish and Arab populations led to the arrests of more than 374 people on Wednesday evening. Israeli police said, and 36 officers being injured. So who is to blame for this happening? I believe the Palestinians are to blame because they are the ones that started the conflict. Now, if you if you attack people, you can't expect to be considered to be that fairly and judged fairly, dude. Like that it doesn't work like that. They own the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. So if the Israelis take over everything, that's crazy. The fighting between Israel and Hamas was triggered by days of escalating clashes between Palestinians and Israeli police at a holy hilltop compound in East Jerusalem. The media is probably not telling us the full story. The site is revealed by both Muslims who call it the Haram, whatever. Jews for whom it is known as the Temple Mount. Hamas demanded Israel remove police from there in the nearby predominantly Arab district of Sheikh Jarrah. But how can Israel remove police when they have their own interests there? Jewish settlers. Okay, well, whatever. So what is the solution here? I think a ceasefire could be in the talks. I don't believe that this is gonna fucking escalate to a full blown war or World War III. Like people are telling me, oh, this is gonna happen, that's gonna happen. I don't believe that's gonna happen. I think there's gonna be a diplomatic solution. I think there should be a diplomatic solution. I think both sides are incorrect, and I think Israel is really just defending their interests. Palestine is the one that attacked them. So if you attack somebody, you can't really be mad when they respond with a greater force than what you began with. So yeah, I mean it's a mess. It's a mess. But they haven't actually told us who caused the violence. The site is yeah whatever. So the fighting began between Israel and Hamas was triggered by days of escalating clashes between Palestinians and Israeli police at a holy hilltop compound in East Jerusalem. So they haven't even told us who caused the violence. They just said that it was both sides. But they expect them to remove the police. They're not gonna do that. Um, yeah, yeah. Wow, that's crazy. So what is the Palestinian? What is the Israeli Prime Minister saying? I want to hear from the Prime Minister, not from these. I don't want to hear from these fucking weirdos. Look, man, I don't want to see you. Let's get to the fucking. Okay. Okay. So let's see this one. Yes, perfect. This is the video I want to see. Pakistan, can you read my comment? Dude, that's the Iron Dome system coming into effect there. I believe they're speaking in Hebrew. Whoa. Look at that building come down, dude. So the rocket destroyed and killed someone, but the violence is happening on both sides. The Prime Minister of Israel said that the Gaza militants will pay a heavy price and all this other stuff. Wow, this is insane. Yeah, it's interesting how this is happening. I'm gonna see how this plays out. So my conclusion is that Palestine should just stand down and sign a peace treaty, man. Like let the UN find a good resolution and let both parties agree to it, and that's it. It's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. It's not that difficult. But you guys do realize that Israel was only created after World War II because the British wanted the Jews to have a safe place to go back to, right? So that land is actually not, it's not theirs. But you can say that for every country. The United States was built on off the backs of killing Native Americans. Europe was taken by, you can go back and talk about everything. So yeah, it is what it is, and I hope there's going to be a peaceful resolution to this. That a fair resolution that is fair for both sides. I think that's